Hi, I'm Logan with Air Today. I'm a service technician, and I'd like to give you a quick rundown on how we work our thermostat. Here we have a Honeywell Pro Series T6 thermostat. We have 5 buttons at the bottom to control it. Starting at the left, we have a minus symbol to lower the temperature setting. We have a mode button to switch between heating, cooling, etc. We have a menu button to allow us to control our program and things like that. We have the fan, which will allow us to change our fan settings from auto or on or circulating in some cases. And then we have a plus arrow, which will allow us to increase our temperature setting. I'd like to start here with the fan setting. You can go ahead and switch this fan from auto or on, in some cases circulating like I said. Auto will allow us to only run the fan when we are actually conditioning. So if we're heating or cooling, that fan will be on, but it will not run in any other case. If we go to the next setting, which is fan on, this will continuously run the fan without stopping until it is changed here in the setting. This will allow us to move air in times like the winter where air can get stagnant and warm and we get a little bit uncomfortable and we need a little bit of movement or breeze, as some people would like to call it. Some thermostats will also, when you click it again, will have a circulating setting represented by CIRC, short for circulating. This will allow the fan to run for an allotted time period of each hour. Typical settings are about 10 to 15 minutes per hour. And this is just to allow you to not have to run your fan all the time, but to allow it to run sometimes, even when the system's not conditioning. This is just for maximum comfort. And I will say, highly recommend only running the fan in the on or circulating position during the heating season. When we are cooling and we run that fan alone, we are always going to introduce more humidity to the home, which is something we're trying to avoid during the cooling season. If you go here to the mode button, we can switch from off to heat here, as you can see. And if I use my plus arrows, I can raise that number of the setting above my ambient temperature here. Once it starts blinking, you can see that it is registering that we have selected a number, and now that it's stopped, it's registered that that is where we have selected. So as you can see here at the top right, we have 2 words saying heat on. This is just telling you that your heat is now running. This system here is a heat pump system, so it is going to run the outdoor unit and the indoor unit at the same time to give you heat. The outdoor unit is actually moving your refrigerant, the indoor unit is moving your air. This is a very, very typical system for the North Carolina area. Other systems like gas furnaces will actually just run the indoor unit when you are running heat because they use gas. And this, you will find, produces much warmer air out of the vents, but is a little less efficient than something like a heat pump, which is the reason why we have more heat pumps than furnaces here in the North Carolina area. Once you move on from heat, you will then find the cool setting. Now I have my cool set to 66, and since I was just running heating, it is now going to have to go into a delay. This delay here will be shown by the words cool on blinking. This delay will also show up if I was to switch to heating again. It would have a 5-minute delay for heating. This is to protect the compressor at the outdoor unit. So please be patient with your thermostat. It is only trying to help. So when you see this blinking, it does not mean there's an issue. It just means it is waiting for the system to cool down and get a break before it starts operating again. Once that starts blinking, we will know that the cooling is on. This is a very long delay, so I won't make you wait through the whole thing, but it will show solid as soon as it is ready and that delay is up. The most typical delay is about 5 minutes, which can feel very, very long when you're waiting on it, so I suggest just making your setting and walking away. Next, we have emergency heat. Because this is a heat pump, and it cannot necessarily heat efficiently when our temperatures drop down in the ranges of, the 20s and the very low 30s outside. The performance of these systems starts to degrade eventually. This is just because that outdoor unit is trying to absorb heat from the air outside, and when it's really cold, there's not a lot of heat to grab, so we need to use emergency heat. Now, actually going to this setting on the thermostat and leaving it there is more so of an emergency only purpose. That backup heat will run on its own when it is needed, and it will not always tell you at the thermostat here. But if you were in the event where your regular heat is not working, say your outdoor unit will not run, you can always, if your indoor unit is still working and functioning, move to the emergency heat section here. You can see the delay ended and we have emergency heat on solid up here. That means that we are running our backup emergency heat strip kits inside of our indoor unit currently. Like I said, this is an emergency only type of selection to actually run it here because it is not very cost efficient. It takes a lot of energy and amperage to run these heaters. That's why they are emergency heat. And if you have a dual fuel system, you will find that your emergency heat is actually your gas furnace. So in the event that it is just too cold outside to run something like a heat pump and we just can't absorb the heat from the air outside to bring it inside, we will need to turn on that emergency heat and then a dual fuel system that will give us our gas furnace, and it will show the same way. It will just be wired up differently in your system because you have a different type of system. When you press menu here, you can obviously see PROG, which is short for program. I can use this button here to select, and this will allow me to turn the programming on or off. I will select on. From this point, it would allow me to select the days of the week that I am actually scheduling at this time. So I will select. It will allow me to select the different time of day that I would like to have a temperature set. And so I will select my waking period. It is on. My waking period is about 5:45 a.m. And after I've selected my wake period, my time, days of the week, I will now select my temperature setting. And I would like my temperature setting when I wake up to be 69 degrees. So I will now select, and you will see that it also has a cooling setting as well. When I'm cooling, I like to be much cooler when I wake up, so it will be at 67. After I press select, it will have finished our setting for the wake period, and then it will move to the next period, so on and so forth. Now I will go home. It will save that schedule in there. Obviously, I did not complete the entire schedule, but it will be saved in there so that when I wake up in the morning, my heat will be set to 69 and my cooling will be set to 67. And that is how our T6 thermostat works.